Space stopped being a government-only project, and now you can actually own pieces of it. This is the commercial space economy stack, layer by layer, from rockets to spacesuits. Start at the bottom, with heavy and medium launch, the engines that move mass to orbit for paying customers. The biggest news here is that SpaceX listed on the NASDAQ in June of 2026, putting the operator that lifts most of the world's payload into the public roster for the first time. United Launch Alliance and Blue Origin stay private. Rocket Lab is building the reusable Neutron rocket, now slipping to 2026 from Wallops Island as the next listed path into this tier. Firefly's medium-lift Miranda program rounds out the US-listed entrants. Layer 2 is Smallsat and Rideshare launch, dedicated rides for satellites under roughly 300 kilograms. SpaceX's Transporter Rideshare program, public since June of 2026, sets the price floor for the whole class by packing dozens of small satellites onto one rocket. Rocket Lab's Electron is the dedicated launch workhorse, flying 21 times in 2025 with no failures, more than any US rocket besides Falcon 9. Firefly's Alpha rounds out the US-listed set. This is where a startup with one satellite actually gets to orbit affordably. Layer 3 is the satellite bus and spacecraft integration, the companies that bolt sensors, power and propulsion onto a chassis and hand you a finished, working satellite. This is a choke point, and here's why. After Lockheed Martin absorbed Terran Orbital in October of 2024 for roughly $450 million, Redwire is essentially the main US-listed merchant integrator left for customers who don't want to build in-house. When one public company anchors the build-out for everyone else, that single point becomes the bottleneck the whole supply chain leans on. Layer 4 is satellite components and specialty manufacturing, the parts inside the satellite and the rocket itself. Think solar arrays, antennas, RF chips, structures, propulsion, payload fairings, and solid rocket motors. Redwire is the pure play on the satellite side. Kármán covers fairings and solid rocket motors, and Voyager handles propulsion and guidance, anchoring the launch vehicle side. Then you have Mercury Systems, Curtiss-Wright, HEICO, and Transdim, all carrying meaningful space content tucked inside broader defense portfolios. Nothing flies without the suppliers in this layer doing their job first. Layer 5 is in-space services and logistics, the vehicles and robots that move, refuel, or deorbit satellites once they're already up there. The investable set is thin. Redwire, now bigger after the Hera Systems deal, works on robotics and docking. Momentus runs orbital transfer with its Vigoride tugs, shuttling satellites to their final orbits. The funding leaders, Astroscale and Impulse Space, both stay private for now. As orbit gets crowded, this layer becomes the cleanup crew and the gas station for everything already flying overhead. Layer 6 is commercial Earth observation and geospatial analytics, the companies that own imaging or RF sensing satellites and sell the pictures, the signals, and the analytics on top. Planet Labs delivers daily optical coverage of the entire planet. Black Sky offers high revisit tasking, meaning you can point a satellite and get fresh imagery fast. Spire focuses on weather data and tracking ships and aircraft. All three increasingly sell to defense and intelligence buyers rather than ordinary enterprise customers. This is where raw orbital data turns into something a customer will pay for. Layer 7 is human spaceflight and tourism, literally selling rides to space for paying customers. SpaceX's Crew Dragon is the only operating US crew system, the ride behind Inspiration 4, and Axiom's chartered missions to the space station at roughly $55 million and up per seat, and it joined the public roster with the June 2026 listing. Virgin Galactic remains grounded while it builds its new Delta-class ships. Blue Origin's New Shepard stays private. This layer turns spaceflight from a government job into a ticketed experience. Layer 8 is commercial space stations and habitats, the orbital outpost being built to replace the International Space Station after 2030. Under NASA's commercial LEO Destinations program, Axiom is private. VAST is private, with its Haven 1 station launching in 2027. Blue Origin and Sierra's Orbital Reef is also private. That leaves Voyager Technologies as the first US-listed pure-play exposure to this layer, through its majority-owned Starlab joint venture with Airbus, Mitsubishi, and Palantir. When the old station retires, these are the addresses that replace it. Layer 9 is Lunar and Cislunar commerce, the landers, rovers, and infrastructure aimed at the Moon and the space between Earth and lunar orbit. Intuitive Machines runs NASA's commercial lunar payload landings, with its IM-1 mission touching down in February of 2024. Firefly's Blue Ghost Mission 1 succeeded in 2025. And SpaceX is developing Starship HLS for NASA's crewed Artemis landings. Astrobotic remains the main private competitor still in the race. This is the earliest layer, where the business model for the Moon is still being written. Layer 10 is ground stations and backhaul. As a commercial service, the antenna networks that rent dish time to satellite operators, so they don't have to build their own ground sites. This is a choke point, because every satellite, no matter how advanced, is useless if it can't talk to the ground. The trouble for investors is that the market is held entirely by private players. Amazon's AWS ground station, Microsoft's Azure Orbital, KSAT, and Viasat's real-time Earth business. No US-listed pure play exists here today, which is exactly what makes it a bottleneck. Layer 11 is the diversified primes, the legacy defense contractors with sizable but diluted space businesses. Lockheed Martin, which absorbed Terran Orbital in October of 2024. Northrop Grumman, behind the Cygnus cargo vehicle. And national security payloads. Boeing, with the Space Launch System and Starliner. Then RTX and L3 Harris round out the group. These are useful when you want space exposure tucked inside a broad defense holding, rather than a clean focused bet. They sit at the top of the stack because space is just one line on a very large balance sheet. Every one of these names connects to the others, suppliers feeding integrators, feeding launch providers. Stack Maps lets you see the whole stack at once and get signals on the news moving each company. Follow Stack Maps across all your socials to keep the whole stack in view.